Hi, I'm Krista, mom of two and bullet journalist of 5 years. I started bullet journaling 5 years ago, and today I'm going to share with you everything I wish I knew when I first started my bullet journal experience. And if you've bullet journaled before, hopefully you'll learn something new and some new inspiration for your bullet journal. First of all, what is a bullet journal? Typically, a bullet journal is a blank dot grid journal, and you have to set it up yourself. Now, when you set up a page, whether it's a calendar spread or a goals page, those are usually called your bullet journal layouts or spreads. And then you use the layouts and spreads by planning, putting events, putting to-dos. We'll get to that. Here are some of the basic bullet journal layouts or spreads that most bullet journals have. Firstly, we've got the year at a glance page. A year at a glance page is super simple. I usually like to just include each of the months of the year, or if you're starting later in the year, each of the months of the rest of the year. And this year at a glance page is just a spot for you to put any important calendar events, vacations, holidays, even like an important monthly to-do could go on year at a glance, birthdays. That's usually one of the first layouts in a bullet journal. Next, you have the monthly layout, or the monthly log, or the month at a glance. For my monthly log, I like to see my month in a traditional monthly layout that you would see on any sort of monthly calendar, but you really could just list the numbers 1 through 30 or 1 through 31, and that could be your month at a glance or your monthly layout. And this monthly layout, month at a glance page is similar to the year at a glance, where you're putting your calendar events, your appointments, your to-dos. If you're traveling, if you have events coming up, birthdays, those all go on your month at a glance or monthly layout. And with the monthly layout, I also like to include a blank page or a page next to it that is what I call a brain dump page, so that I can just think of all the things I would like to do that month and brain dump what I would like, or brainstorm, you could think of it, what I'd like my month to look like. And the last kind of basic layout that I use, or that most bullet journalers use, is a weekly layout, which also kind of turns into your daily planner or daily layout. The weekly spread for me, I like to start on a Monday and go to Sunday. It is the spread that I probably use the most often. I can use it every day, or if we don't use it every day, use it every other day. And it's where I'll put my tasks for the day, my to-dos, my events, my appointments, things I'd like to remember. But it's also a spot where if you have some space at the end of the day, that you can even journal or go back and reflect on what your day looks like. We'll get into that later. That's pretty much the basic layout of a bullet journal. Is you got your year at a glance, months, and weeks. Let me show you some examples in one of my pre-made bullet journals of what these spreads or layouts would look like. This was my 2024 bullet journal. I consider a pre-made bullet journal, so we have a cute cover page, and I like to have a spot for goals and vision board, which we'll talk about those spreads later. But here's my year at a glance. It's just a spot where I can put any dates or events for all the months of the year. Here is a monthly cover page you can or cannot include, but here is my month at a glance or monthly layout page with a little bit of a brain dump spot underneath it where you could put your goals or tasks, whatever you like here. And then this is an example of a weekly layout. I actually typically prefer having my weekly layout take up 2 pages, but this is one where it's just 1 page. So it's super simple, super easy to bullet journal with this type of a layout. Now that you know what a bullet journal is, let's talk about when and how you're going to bullet journal. So typically I like to save some time to set up my bullet journal at the beginning of the year, or whether you're starting your bullet journal, if it's not the beginning of the year, then just take some time to kind of set up your bullet journal. So that's kind of the first time. I also like to plan/bullet journal on Sundays. So Sundays is when I will typically reflect on my previous week and set up and plan for my next week. And then at the beginning of each month/end of the month, I usually take a little extra time on Sunday to set up my next month and reflect upon my previous month. So let me share a little bit more examples with you of how to bullet journal. Another layout or spread that I like to put at the beginning of my bullet journals is a key, and I actually made it digital, so I printed it this year. But here is my 2024 bullet journal, and you can see my key. I just pasted it right in here. So here's a couple of ways that you can differentiate what you're notating in your bullet journal. So the first thing is a bullet, and I like to use that for a task that I would like to do or a goal I'd like to accomplish. And then the difference right here is like if there's an event or an appointment, I use an open circle just so it's not like, oh, I have to do something. It's like, no, that's just something on my calendar, not necessarily a task, but it's an event. And then if I've completed or achieved the goal, I'll just do an X or a check mark. If I attended the event or went to it, you can color it in or check it off as well. Right here, this canceled one is nice because let's say you didn't end up going to that event, you can cross it out, but you can also cross out any tasks that you had on your to-do list that are no longer important to you anymore. So like instead of checking off a task, even if you didn't finish it, but you want to kind of like end your day, go over everything you've done. Let's say one of your tasks was to go on a walk and you didn't get to it, you could just cross it off and say, you know what, I didn't get to a walk, I'm just going to cross it off. Or if you decide that it's something important enough that you'd like to do the next day, you can migrate it or move it to the next day. So you put a little arrow on it, meaning I didn't do it today, but I definitely want to do it tomorrow or even at some point in the future. So I'm going to migrate it. I'm going to move it to the day that I would like to do that walk. This one, planned, is similar to migrating where like, okay, let's say you wanted to do like a hike. So it's like a very specific activity. You didn't get to it that day, but you do really want to do that hike. Let's plan it. So let's say it's March right now. I don't think I'm going to have time this month to do it. I'm going to go back and plan it. I'm going to put it in my year at a glance. Let's move it to May. I think I'll have time in May to do that hike. So you put it back in your bullet journal so that you remember, okay, that's still important to me, but I don't have time for it right now. And then right here, these are kind of what I use to either like journal or note things throughout my day, or if there's something really important that I would like to remember in the day. So using this key, this system, this is something that you can do daily within your bullet journal as you go through your weeks. So kind of during these sections, during your weekly, every night you can go through your day and just migrate, plan, move things. Or you can do it at the end of the week. Look over your week and see what you did or didn't do, and then migrate things to the next week if they're still important, cancel them out if they're not important anymore. Whether you're new to bullet journaling or not, this itself is a habit that you're going to start to do. And so give yourself grace. If you don't do it every day, that's totally fine. Like I said, I don't even do it every day. I do it probably every other day or a couple of times a week. And something that's super great about bullet journaling is that you can always go back and fill in any space that you didn't use with journaling thoughts or ideas that you have. So now that you know the basics of bullet journaling, let's get into some more of the creative side, other types of layouts besides just the basics, as well as some of the productivity side that people love about bullet journaling. I'm so excited for you to use this bullet journal.